I mean, I got an opportunity to see all the new things and how long it is.
How long it is.
Do you need some of these for your center?
Military stuff.
We usually deliver.
Well, I'm gonna call the meeting to order.
Yeah.
Mary Sue, can you do the roll call, please?
I can. It's the right one. Today is the 15th. Chair Speedman? Here. Vice Chair Brainerd? Here. Commissioner Cummins?
No, but he's on. For grants.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lanker?
Here.
Commissioner Madrid? Commissioner Nevitt? Commissioner Owens?
Here.
Commissioner Yu?
Thank you.
Also, Deanna is out today, so I'll be giving her the report.
Okay, Kathy, would you lead us please in the pledge?
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments? Okay, since there are no public comments, did everybody read the minutes of the last meeting? And are there any corrections or additions? Guess not. So can I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Okay. And now that was the minutes of the February 13th meeting. Now I read the minutes. Now, remember we had a special meeting for the goals, the grants. And did everybody read those minutes?
And I'll move to accept.
And Kay seconded the motion. Okay, all in favor? Raise your right hand. Okay. So the minutes of the February 13th and the February 27th meetings are approved. Okay, now we get to hear from St. John's Dignity Health. And Sister Suzanne Safi is here. And she's going to tell all about what she does.
Not only me, we have a huge team, including volunteers in collaboration with City of Oxnard and a lot of other agencies and others as well.
You used to have education across your,
Headquarters?
yeah.
Well, I still do. So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to this. First of all, thank you for the financial support for programs for seniors that we have to offer in the community. Yes, to answer your question, the senior wellness program comes out of the community education department at St. John's. So what I'm going to be giving you is actually, for example, the budget for the whole department. You know, we have seniors taking advantage of all of our programs. So there are seniors in walking program, there are seniors in getting blood testing, there are seniors in the diabetes classes and healthy cooking classes. So basically, it's a big umbrella, but for the sake of some of the specialized senior services, we call it the Senior Wellness Program. I'm probably going to have to stand up here to make this work, and I feel I shouldn't be this far away from you.
It's a big room.
Yeah.
Well, it's always good to talk first about what are we trying to achieve through the Senior Wellness Program. And basically, it's to try to help
seniors maintain good health. How is that done? Promoting health and healthy behaviors, providing early detection of health problems, especially through our health screenings like cholesterol, anemia, blood pressure, blood sugar, etc. Help seniors gain information and develop skills to manage their illnesses. So how can I manage my heart condition or manage my diabetes? Or I passed out to you also the flyers today on the Cancer Center programs. That is another department, but I thought I would just make you aware of those services, and there are many seniors in Oxnard who take advantage of how to manage their cancer and the support groups that are available through that. Provide referrals and resources. Sometimes we refer people to doctors or to different classes in the program, such as some of your classes in Oxnard at the senior centers or through the Ventura County Area Agency, like the fall prevention class or the Tai Chi class. And also, how to help them get assistance with food, the senior food kits, et cetera, from Food Share. Act as a support group. You know that any programs that seniors come to are not just for like exercise, but it's the social support that is what they come for. And there's a gentleman who's in a walker. He's in our walking program at the Bone Builders class at the Boys and Girls Club. And his daughter brings him every morning. And he's upset when we are closed on holidays because, his morning becomes walking program and Bone Builders and all his conversations with everybody who's there. So there are lots of good connections, and seniors don't become isolated. And in fact, his wife had died prior to coming to the walking program. So he was not very happy just being at home, especially if you don't drive, right? Even though there are. Well, you ask in your questions, what is our location? Well, really, all our programs are out in the community where the seniors are, in the senior centers, and some are at the hospital in our conference center, the classes, etc. But our office is located at St. John's Regional Medical Center on the garden level, and it's called the Community Health Education Office. In terms of grant funding, you have been very generous over the years, and the grant, and I'm kind of reporting on the statistics for the grant for 2017. And so you funded that $4,000, and I want to go over the department budget as well as the employees that are involved in all of our programs, not just the senior wellness. In a sense, all of them are senior wellness because they're promoting health and wellness. So the total budget for the department runs about $338,000. This is all contributed services by St. John's hospitals. So we don't charge for our program except for the cholesterol test, which is about $10, and that's a huge discount. But all the other services are free, and St. John's subsidizes that. In terms of employees, we have about a total of 4 FTEs. Everybody is pretty much bilingual. It is bilingual, except for me. Yo hablo español un poquito, a little bit, but I work on it. I practice with the seniors. And there's about 5 volunteers that help with different things, like blood pressure checks or blood sugar checks. They help with the walking program sign-ins, and when we have healthy cooking classes, they're there to help with the service and the registrations, etc. And those volunteers are so valuable to us. Who are we serving? Well, when you ask me how many people in Ventura County do we serve, it's hard to get a handle on that. We do have a computer program in Dignity Health throughout the system that captures all the people that we serve in our community health education and food pantries, etc. Any kind of services that are free to the community. We just started about 6 months ago putting in those numbers and the zip codes of the residents. So on all our sign-up sheets now, we have a sign-in, and please put in your zip code. So hopefully in a year from now, that computer system will be able to tell us what are the total. I can go back and tell you who are the total number of people that we serve in all of our programs, but I didn't put anything there for now. Residents of Oxnard. So, you know, in the senior centers as well as in our programs, we have sign-in sheets every time someone comes. So when we calculate the number of people who signed in for a program per month, it runs from 400 to 500 seniors. Now, that means, and I want to, it maybe seems high, but it's repetitive. So there's probably about 40 to 60 seniors in the walking program. And if they sign in like 12 times a month, you know, that boosts that number. So, you know, I can break it down, how many in it. So a walking program, we serve about 40 to 60 seniors. They don't all come every day, but they are in our cards. In the senior centers, when we go once a month for the wellness programs, screenings and referrals and resources, there's about 20, sometimes at South Oxnard, there's close to 35 or 40 people who come. Now, they're the same people every month. So that's why I kind of gave you a monthly sign-in. And, you know, at our classes, it runs from 15 to 50 people who come to a class, the healthy cooking class, for example. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea. And in our grant application, we did put in about how many are served in each of the categories. But if you want to break down, I have it here. How do we use our grant funds? Number one, we give about half of the grant funds every year, a little bit over half, to the Boys and Girls Club for letting us use their facility 3 times a week in the morning for a walking program and the bone builders class. We include that. So we're talking about electricity, bathroom usage, cleaning fees, etc., and supplies. For we do spend about $2 for every blood sugar screening. So I think we did 1,600 last year. So when you start adding that up, that's all contributed services subsidized by the hospital or your grant funds. And it's well spent because we often detect early. Remember, part of the one of the goals or objectives is early detection of health problems. So once in a while, we send people to their doctor or hospital, to the hospital. Stipends for health education class instructors, and food for the healthy cooking and tasting classes. That's pretty much how we're spending our money right now, the money that you give us. I can give you a breakdown if you need it, because we keep a ledger on all the expenditures. You ask, how do we reach people in the community and tell them about our programs? Well, number one, you know, we have a website. We have this bi-monthly wake up newsletter, and we send that out on an email distribution to about 40 different agencies in the community, as well as to the senior centers, coordinators, Ventura County Public Health, nursing, Ventura County Public Health nursing that goes into homes. We also, on 2 Thursdays in the month, are at the Plaza Park, you know, when they have the food, I mean, what do they call it? Farmers market. So we're doing blood pressures or blood sugar checks there and giving out flyers and enrolling people in our classes. Oh, it's more, there's also about 200 agencies in our email distribution list, press releases to the radio newspaper. And you know what, I'm so sorry. I was gonna bring the newspaper article about the healthy cooking class that had,
Oh, right,
Just-
I saw that.
did you see it? That was just at Wilson Senior Center a month or 2 ago, and a great picture. And some of the people who were in it were so proud to be in the picture. So that was a huge success.
If you haven't seen it, it's on our social media.
Yeah, I saw it.
Did the picture come out, Renee?
It did.
Oh, good.
Good.
Okay. Patients and guests in the hospital. So we do visit a certain number of patients with specific illnesses or diseases and invite them to enroll in some of our programs. and then organizations in the Area Agency on Aging Network. And if you have any suggestions about where else we could publicize, we would really welcome those. And I forgot to put up there, I should have put up there, physician offices. So they are included in our email distribution list. Oh, I'm going backwards, sorry. A few pictures, that's why I wanted to do the PowerPoint. And I'm sorry if they're not as clear because this screen is not very close to you. But again, walking program pictures, going back there. Some of them dance, do line dancing. A little separate group comes in every morning and does line dancing on their own, and they have an instructor on Wednesdays. Whatever we need to do to help people have fun at exercise. This is one of the stretching classes or parts of the walking program, the stretching. And Mary Sue, you know, the bone builders are just kind of part of the community over there. Everything we do with them. And when we have our walking program breakfast and speaker in May, they get invited because a lot of them are also walkers. So they have a lot of fun, too much fun. Okay, monthly birthday party at walking program. So we celebrate everybody's birthday. This is the Spanish exercise at Palm Vista Senior Center, and they too have a lot of fun in Spanish. Here are some health screenings, blood pressure, blood sugar, and this is the healthy eating and cooking class. And I don't have one for some of the other classes, but it's my goal to kind of take some pictures. And I'm probably going over time, but just a couple things I wanted to share. So in terms of outcomes, in our world, our administration is always asking for outcomes. What are you doing that makes this program effective, and why should we continue this program? Well, if you look at this, 2 patients last year had a critical blood pressure that would send them to the hospital out of 2,369 blood pressure checks we did. So the seniors who come to these programs regularly are monitoring their blood sugar regularly and preventing, medical crises. If we didn't have this program, would they be able to do that? If they had their own blood pressure machine at home, but what's also part of it is like the exercise and the classes. 7 patients had a critical value in blood sugar levels. So those were probably among the patients who have diabetes already. Out of 2,010 blood sugar checks. And then we do try to support the people who have diabetes in the walking program. And if they're newly diagnosed, we try to get them into our classes and follow them and try to get them into the diabetes support group. So last year, there were 16 participants. For the American Heart Diabetes Association, the A1C test, which is the measure of their blood sugar over 3 months, it should be 7% or less to prevent complications. So 6 of them over the last year were able to achieve 7% or less. Oftentimes, people who are over 80 have a little bit higher A1C, and that's been noted in the standards of care for diabetes. So 8 of them had between 7.1 and 8%, and most of them were like 7.1 or 7.2. There wasn't anybody really high. And then 2 were working with every day because they have higher blood sugars. And one of them is newly diagnosed, so that's part of it. That number will change. So there you have it. It's a wrap. Any questions or suggestions?
Very good.
Do you work through the churches at all?
We do try to advertise our classes through the churches and programs. So once in a while, we will put something in a bulletin. We could do more. We do also, like, for example, we've had some chronic disease self-management classes, that evidence-based class in some of the churches for their senior groups. We offer it. Or we could also do a diabetes self-management class in a specific church if they had seniors who would benefit from that.
That's one of our strategies. We're gonna start reaching out to some of the churches.
Yeah, the other thing I forgot to mention, Alice, is our staff go to Our Lady of Guadalupe once or twice a month, and they do blood pressure and blood sugar screening. I'm sorry I forgot about that. And there's Spanish-speaking staff that go out there. So I don't have statistics on that, but they do, and I probably should have brought those.
We have a big footprint.
We're really pleased.
Well, you know, I know County Public Health does some services, and the other thing is, I was telling Alice earlier, we're trying not to duplicate programs that are already being done, like the Ventura County has like the fall prevention class. So, you know, we focus a lot in diabetes, senior wellness, but the Camarillo Community Memorial Hospital also has the Heart Aware program. They do a lot of screenings. I don't know how much they do in Oxnard now, and they have a big outreach. They used to. So we kind of have backed off a little bit in Heart, although we do the blood pressure and the cholesterol and those types.
Well, I love the food class that you do for the
Well,
diabetes.
sign up
And
next
so
time.
now we're doing it at our Wilson, and we're doing it at South Oxford too.
We had it at Wilson a month ago, so.
I think that's just.
Yeah.
Well, I think South Oxnard would be really interested, and Palm Vista would also be really interested. So over the year, we're hoping to do that.
You know, you can spark some interest.
Plus,
Different ways.
they love the lunch that
Yeah.
we
You also have that breakfast every year with a good speaker. How do
Yes,
you choose in relation to the number of people?
we're hoping that the speaker this year will be Dr. Batimi, who is a arthritis specialist, a rheumatologist. There's a lot of people who can use help with. Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your support. Oh, there should be one more slide that says thank you. Oh, I forgot the Cancer Center, but you have that in front of you. All right.
Well, it's a pleasure
Oh, it is.
to work with the hospital that does so much. Okay, recommendation that commission receive and file this presentation. And we were gonna have a report by action that Al Clemens is at the CDBG. The panel interview. So he got 3 days. I've done it twice, and it's gonna be interesting to see how he went in with all this enthusiasm, you know, after you sit there from 8 in the morning until 5:30 at night. It's
Make your computer easier.
We needed that.
I always said her he's redesigned. Probably.
Kathy had a question.
My question is, since that one, they're not ready for that, I have my report for the ombudsman for next month. Would you like me to do that presentation today?
So we need to stick with the agenda
Okay.
items, would be a good idea. It'll
Okay.
Make life easier, but we need to move action to next month, so we'll have to double up.
Okay.
Thanks. So you're prepared.
Yeah.
That's always good. Okay, so now we have the report from the commission secretary, and Deanna isn't here, so.
So, I just wanted to follow up on, one item that was two parts. Alice Madrid had asked about senior homelessness and the housing opportunities and tied it into the Las Cortes building project, which you all referred to as the Columbia Housing Project.
Oh, so it has a name.
Yes, last ordinance. So, I reached out to the housing staff that I've been in contact with, and her, as far as that goes, if you look at this very last page, that's information on Section 8 housing. So Alice was asking, how do people apply to move into that area? Their plan, housing's plan, is there are still individuals living in a portion of that housing unit closest to roads. There are people that are still living there. So my understanding is they are going to move those individuals into those individuals that are interested to move into the new units will be placed there first. Any beyond that will be those that were relocated. And then they would go to the Section 8 housing list, which if you recall, we had somebody from housing come and present last year, and that housing wait list for Section 8 is closed. So as of now, to answer Alice's question, there is not an opportunity to apply for housing. Now, with that said, her other question or area of concern is seniors who are homeless. And so there is a commission on homelessness. And there's a staff liaison, and here's information on that very front page on that commission. But then the next page includes emergency services. So, you know, if Alice has come into contact, as she has said, with individuals who are in need of services, there's contact info. And then on the very back is supportive services. And that's all for our Ventura County area. So giving you all a little bit of resources if you do come in contact with an individual in need of housing due to being homeless. These are the different areas that they can access. And that's all I have for report of commission secretary.
Thank you.
Yep.
Not this part.
So, under old business, we're gonna revisit the mission goals. So we have, short-term and long-term goals. So this is,
And on board.
oh, yeah, and a new category, ongoing. So this handout that was sent into place is what has been proposed for coming. So the subcommittee, Al Clemens, Alice Madrid, and Jeff Nemeth, have suggested that we only have one short-term goal.
Well, we didn't say that. We only identified one. If there's any other short-term goals that are relevant, we certainly wasn't up to. I wasn't at the meeting. This was on the goals. But two of the three short-term goals were moved to ongoing. They were really not short-term, but then we were putting the ongoing presentation, the annual presentation. We decided that really wasn't a short-term goal, it was ongoing maintenance goal. So if anyone, three of us were unable to identify other immediate short-term goals. If anyone comes across any, and the housing actually, which Alice identified, got rolled into this. It's the second on the strategy, it's housing and repairs up on the list. So rather than give it its own short-term goal, we kind of rolled it into this goal. But if anyone comes across something that you think belongs, I think, could we add goals?
You can.
As the
You
year
can.
goes on, it's not like it's a hard fast thing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sister.
Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
Bless you for your service.
Thank you. So, yeah, we had a discussion last month. I don't have my notes. So, how does the commission feel? Is this acceptable to have one short-term goal? Can you think of anything that we need to address?
So I'll just make the comment that 2 of the short-term goals were rolled from short-term to ongoing. So the grant process has become an ongoing goal rather than a short-term. And the annual report has been moved to ongoing, which was previously short-term. And then there's a grant process was new. And then annual and identify, promote, meet the needs of the senior population has been moved to ongoing.
Okay, so it's just a new definition.
Mhm.
Same.
They're still there.
Yeah.
Cement.
Okay, so have you all looked at the short-term goal number 1? Do you see anything that's missing there? So your subcommittee's prepared to report to us every 3 months?
Hopefully.
So
That's the intention.
on the note of subcommittees, so this is the subcommittee that worked on the short-term section. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are moving on to working on this goal. So, and that's at the discretion of the commission as to
It
who
says
to
right
assign.
here, subcommittee.
But this is a new goal, and those were the 3 individuals who worked on
Okay.
designing this new goal.
So don't we have to choose a subcommittee?
Yes. So today you can look at the goals, also look at the action plans and the subcommittees, and you're gonna be approving it as a whole. Decide to move forward.
Okay, so we can appoint the subcommittee.
Correct.
No, we can have 4, is
Yes,
that true?
5 would be majority, since we have 8.
So 4 is okay, or 4 is
4 should be okay, because that's
Okay.
not a majority.
with somebody else?
And doesn't mean you need to have 4. 3 would be okay also. Some of the
I'm thinking
commissions,
it's-
actually, most of them
But we're
right now,
For any help.
as of now, the ones from last year have 3 for the most part.
Okay, so it doesn't look like anybody has any additions to short-term goal number 1. We're satisfied with the way that was presented. So moving on to long-term goal number 1. That was Kay, Kathy, Clark, and it was me too, wasn't it?
Yep.
So these are the 3 individuals who were on this subcommittee last year. Here, not the long-term working goal committee.
Okay, so the subcommittee noted is the subcommittee that,
That is rolling over, exactly, is rolling over from last year.
Okay, so, this is the one to build the new state-of-the-art senior center. Oh yeah, you guys are on the subcommittee. I get it.
yeah, we're on the subcommittee.
So looking over this, the strategies and people responsible and so forth, do you see anything that needs to be changed there? I wonder if community events should be lowercase.
Lowercase. I can make that change.
I don't think that needs to be capitalized.
Oh, yeah. Minor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so everybody likes goal number 1.
Okay.
And goal number 2, support new and ongoing senior programs, including the opening of the Colonia Center. And see the strategies. And that is supposed to happen in October, so hopefully next year we won't have this goal.
Mhm.
But it has been a long-term goal. And maybe we can have another progress report next month.
As I get information, I can bring it back.
Okay, so is everybody satisfied with that? Short-term goal number 2, or long-term, excuse me, long-term. Long-term goal number 3, create awareness of the senior population, their needs, and available resources to the public. So, looking over the strategies, the people responsible, process for monitoring, do you see anything you'd like to add or change?
I just think it's great. It's
Yeah, yeah.
so important. I can't believe the number of people that, I here associating around, I say, have you ever been to the senior center? And I go, the number of people say no. And I look at them with this
Right.
weird look at my face, I'm sure, you've never been to the senior center.
I guess the only question I have on this one is, does the Pepperdine project tie into it? It does tie into it.
Yeah.
Do we tie into it on
Work with outside
the?
sources.
Oh, okay.
We decided that we didn't want to
Specify.
specify Pepperdine because Mary Sue had written a grant to get Pepperdine.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they don't renew the grant, we're gonna continue working
Right.
with somebody.
Somebody.
So,
And my name is spelled.
Oh, no.
oh, it's
R-E-Y.
Jeffrey.
Or you can just say Jeff.
Would you like it to be Jeff?
That's fun. Only my mother.
When you're in trouble.
She's not been around.
Oh, yeah, you're Jeff on the short term. So anyway, we just wanted to be,
Other than-
we didn't want to be specific. Okay, so that looks good. Now, ongoing goal number 1. To ensure the grant process is thorough and unbiased and maximize city funds to best serve the needs of the senior population. So that was the
It's
committee,
brand new, it's a brand new goal.
but it was a goal before about revising the grant process. So
Yes.
it's kind of evolved into this ongoing because that's one of the, it's not much money, but it's really important that we do that.
Right, because I think it spends money farther by
Yeah.
doing it well. And making sure the other people knew that others existed. I think that's one thing we learned. There were a few groups that we were related to that really weren't aware of some of the. That was the whole purpose of this revision.
I thought,
Everybody knows the other person and shares all their information.
I thought it was amazing that they all showed up at that meeting, you know.
I did too. That I think showed how much they really rely on our little bit, we think it's a little bit of money, but they, and then what like Gray Law says, we can't apply for others if we don't get this money from you.
Action grants.
So, yeah, that was a great meeting. So anyway, this has evolved into this ongoing goal. So, looking at the strategies and people responsible, the process for monitoring, do you see anything that needs to be added?
I think it'll look pretty good.
So it has an empty subcommittee on this and looking at the strategies and activities. 1 through 3, can be done at the commission meeting. Number 4, the subcommittee could possibly provide input for that new or for next year's reception. Or you can leave it up to staff and leave the subcommittee as all. So either assigning a few or.
Now, I would like to make the recommendation that it would be all, only because we all do participate in this by going out and visiting the organizations, by discussing it, the grant process here when we, go to allocate the funds. So it seems that this one is best not for a subcommittee, but why don't the entire committee participates in this one.
So I'm gonna note it as Senior Services Commission.
And I really like that everybody is engaged. When I first came on the commission, some people just really didn't want to be bothered with it. And I think everybody is very engaged in the process. Okay, so that looks good. And then ongoing goal number 2, create annual report on community services and senior needs. And that's our PowerPoint presentation. And Jeff and I have already had one meeting. Renee pretty much generates the report.
So something we get so much PR from the city council.
Mhm. Yeah, and I've done it for Rotary,
Oh, right, yeah, the program is something you can pick up and take to a
service
Rotary,
club.
the intercouncil,
Yeah.
meetings, all those kind of things. So it's a good thing to have.
And it gives us a chance to stand up in the council chamber.
It makes them aware.
I look somewhat
You
intelligent.
get hopefully more than hopefully still council. May 1st.
It was what's happening on May 1st,
Yeah.
this may be an important thing.
I mean, that's an interesting point, that all the players that have been supportive of us might not be there. That it might be the mayor.
Isn't it?
Well, and then, if they're gonna add.
Never
council
added
members.
Oh, right, we ought to-
When does that happen?
The district elections are in November,
Oh,
so
well.
the next.
So.
So we'll have to educate the new.
Right.
Yeah.
So, our editor-in-chief over here, Mary Sue, the strategy and activity, if you're okay with this change, will read, review senior services activities during the previous year.
We can also use those magazines, senior magazines that we are getting, that are displayed in the senior centers. They have
The whole
those,
county.
we can use it.
Review
Refer,
senior
because
services
there's a lot of
activities.
agencies who use magazines, everything all day, housing, everything.
Oh, so those are, I think, good at the senior centers, but not city council, I don't think is interested in what the county.
But I think we give them our calendar. You're talking about this,
No. Not that
The
one, not that
Live
one.
Well
It's,
magazine.
There's another magazine. that's
Live Well.
senior,
Yeah.
Live Well.
okay, so, okay, so,
And the timeline on this, it always says completed by April.
So the
but it's
delivery
usually
of the
February.
presentation, you can change that.
Should be January.
February.
yeah, because we take it to the February council.
Right.
So
Yeah.
complete by February?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's,
And with what's happening in November, it'll be really important that we try to get there in January.
Yeah,
February
get on
at the latest.
we could also say complete by first quarter of the year or to. or within first quarter of the year?
Sometimes you can't,
You
you
don't have
can't
control.
dictate the city council's
Right.
Yeah.
agenda.
I think
But-
that's,
But it's having the report, having it updated by the first quarter.
Well, this says report completed, so report to the council
Well,
or report.
it's all, because we're gonna be going to service groups and other K, so
Okay.
it's gonna be a all year
Okay.
process. But we should have an
You
updated,
need two timelines. You need a timeline, one would be when the PowerPoint is updated, and timeline, second one would be when you would make it to the present to city council. So you can have it finished in January or February each year, so it's available if you want to go to another CAG or.
Updated.
but you know what, we're continually up.
So then stick to report to council by
Timeline, yeah,
I think-
report to council by
city.
first quarter.
Report to city council by first quarter of the year or annual.
Is that awkward and very
Yeah, I would
similar?
just say first quarter.
And then
that's when he's good at writing grants.
It just depends on, it's our,
I might put it within first quarter.
the city's
within
fiscal
first
year,
quarter.
doesn't it go to? So first quarter, that's not really
We're not seeing
calendar quarter.
annually.
That's what, we're doing it
Yeah,
to make sure we were taking them
it might be it.
grant approval.
No, I'm nitpicking on, because Q1 for them, for the city is July,
Right.
August, September. Q1 for my federal grant is October, November, December. Q1 in calendar years, January, February, March.
So first quarter of the calendar year.
Within the first quarter of calendar.
Not to be nitpicky, but.
It's true, yeah, yeah.
But I think, we constantly see things that need to be revised. Okay, so finally, ongoing goal number 3, identify, promote, and meet the needs of our senior population, health seniors. So,
So on this subcommittee previously was Alice Madrid and Dennis Jackson, who's no longer with us. So this subcommittee still needs to be established.
Please don't overpass.
And specific, not mentioned. Yes, he was well demonstrated.
Where Alice is already.
She's always interested in health and pet. I bet she would be a really good person to run.
Lourdes? Lourdes, would you like to be on that subcommittee?
Yes.
Okay.
And I go to the senior center for exercise.
Yes, and here, they have the
Health and
And this is also within this, Alice, it's visit inter-neighborhood councils. So
you looking at me?
since you do a lot of that,
Okay,
it's up to you though.
all right.
You want to be at it?
neighborhood, yes.
Alice and me against the world.
Look at her, just volunteering other people.
Really?
Looking to our neighbors.
Okay, yeah, I've gone to a couple of neighborhood council sort of ones, so. I'm confused a little bit here under process for monitoring. Subcommittee will report every 3 months at the commission. And then process of communication, report back to the commission in 3 and 6 months.
Oh, you give me one or the other, or.
Well, I don't know, and display survey results. We're not really doing a survey. I thought we did away with the survey.
Right.
So I think take that off.
Display survey.
Although we are gonna start our post surveys.
Yeah, those are going to be displayed. That's it.
So our communication flyers and monthly calendars. But what about this, subcommittee report every 3 months? That's a process from that.
So you can say subcommittee will report as needed, so, you know, if you're attending a neighborhood council, you can go to the commission and report it as needed rather than every 3 months.
Under
Here,
Process.
subcommittee will report as needed at the commission meeting.
okay, but now look at the next
Right. So then,
process for communication.
so you can take off that if you'd like to.
Well, I think that better.
It's just, you know, it should be one or the other, but not both. So shall we leave it, subcommittee will report as needed to the commission?
I think the only problem with as needed, it leaves it so open. What you might want to do is put a minimum number of times, like minimum meetings of twice a year or 2 times a year, something like that. That you define that it does have to be, rather than just leaving it open as needed.
So subcommittee report a minimum of,
The minimum of two meetings in the year or 2 times a year.
and now there must be a better way to word
I'm sure there is. That's a little bit complicated.
it. Subcommittee will report,
As needed,
report to the commission.
at least,
Report to the commission,
Twice a year.
a minimum of twice a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so under processes for monitoring, subcommittee will report to the commission a minimum of twice a year.
Okay.
And then process for communication to shareholders, take off the report back to the commission, because we've already
yeah.
done that up above. And so the process for communication to shareholders, flyers and monthly calendars. And couldn't that be our PowerPoint as well?
PowerPoint presentation?
Add that to it.
Yeah, but PowerPoint, point presentation, comma, flyers and monthly calendar. And so I just needed a little work. Let's see, up above on the strategy form subcommittee. Visit imaging council, ask seniors in the neighborhood, identify programs to meet technology training, which that was one of the goals that we had before. So it kind of rolled the technology in with it.
And you need to form a subcommittee.
It's gonna be Lourdes and me.
So
And anybody else.
And Alice still?
I thought we decided she was on it.
She's already on
Okay.
2, 3 of them or something. Like she does, you know, our dances and
And the only,
and the parade and.
That's right. If I could just put it, short-term goal 1 kind of feeds into this goal. And it should be.
Well,
So we can
that was-
somehow coordinate.
Yeah,
If we come up with needs in that subcommittee, we should somehow communicate them.
the difference, I was told at the last meeting was, this is identify immediate
Right.
and critical, and the other one is just identify, promote. So it has to do with immediate and critical. I didn't see a lot of difference between the two.
There's
But-
definitely some, a lot of both.
Yeah,
You want it in your strategies, just put coordinate efforts with short-term one goal subcommittee? Or communicate efforts or something, not that you don't.
put it under
And
strategy.
it's actually a bigger issue,
Yeah.
because as the committees identify things, they need to be involved in other subcommittees and report. as ORCA's updates, that would update. And so, all, I mean, they're all interacting. Not really.
But
sure.
they're both, I agree.
And I guess this is the mechanism.
Yeah. There's
And
some
then-
reports here is where you're getting them going
And
and.
we're all together and we share some.
So then my question is there a way to combine ongoing goal number 3 and short-term goal number 1? Rather than working separately on a similar cause,
And,
is there a way to work together on one goal?
I'm not going to speak for Al, but I think his point was that what goes on in short-term goal, in ongoing goal 3, a lot of that is, this, you know, is getting the word out. Whereas the short-term goal is to actually pick up on some new things. So, I don't know. It's a little bit confusing.
You could take strategies 2 and 3 from ongoing and add it to
Short-term ongoing number 3.
And I think 2 on ongoing 3 is a critical goal for this ongoing. And that's something that's,
For which one? 2 here,
you know, on the ongoing.
and keep that.
Visit the council and
Mhm.
visit groups, service groups.
You know,
It's
looking at this, they identify the immediate and critical. You know, if we lived in Santa Barbara, we'd say, oh, you know, the immediate goal is to get these people sheltered.
An example, right, an example of immediate goal would be when there was the hepatitis scare in, you know, for Southern California, that's immediate. How do we get the word out that there are programs for that? So that's something that the short-term goal would do, but the ongoing would necessarily be responsible for. That's essentially, that's over then, or it's under control.
So looking at the strategy and hearing what you're saying, is it possible to drop, so short-term goal 1 is identifying immediate and critical needs. Is it possible for ongoing goal number 3 to drop the word identify? Because there's no identification going on in this strategy.
Right, maybe that's.
And rather move that goal to promote and meet the needs.
Promote, yeah, just on ongoing goal number 3, eliminate the word identify.
And that would
So then just promote, get rid of that comma. Promote and meet the needs of our senior population. Yeah, they were just, and that was the whole discussion, then it got completely out of
Yeah,
hand at
I
our
was
last
glad I
meeting.
was in surgery.
You mean you didn't
I
watch us
no.
on television?
I think it was the week after the surgery. Still
So your strategy number 3
under the
has to be
influence.
identifying.
So identify programs though.
But they were so similarly worded. And,
Well, that's what I'm saying, the subcommittee on short-term goal 1 has to be able to communicate and feed information.
so,
Unless something's really short-term, I mean, we haven't really determined if short-term means 1 to 3 months, less than a year, or whatever. So it's probably,
When we
It's hard to say.
established these goals a few years ago, I think it was 0 to 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And then 2 to 5 was same as long-term.
ongoing, things closer to.
under process for communication shareholders, tie in with the long-term communication goal. So we should put tie in with the long-term and ongoing communication. Down here.
So,
Because you're
It's on.
saying you want to tie it into.
okay, so let me, and I'm saying this without looking at it. So does it tie in as else, as
This
Jeff
would
said,
tie
does
in.
it tie into all goals? Does this immediate and critical needs tie into, so critical needs, does that tie into the new senior center?
Depends on.
No. Oh, well,
Well, I
it
mean,
can.
It
It can, and the reopening of this Colonia Senior Center is,
can,
yeah.
depending on what's identified. Creating awareness of the senior population, their needs, there is identifying
Yeah.
needs, ensuring that the grant process is thorough, unbiased, the grant process is meeting needs indirectly. Annual report, they're gonna be, any needs could be reported, so, so tie in with all goals. All commission goals. Tie in with all commission goals.
Or, yeah.
If you want to identify them as short or long-term and ongoing goals.
Okay, tie in with long,
Get rid of the,
long-term and ongoing goals. Tie in with long-term and ongoing goals.
I put commission members.
With
You have communication.
commissions, long-term. Yeah, long-term and ongoing commission goals.
So, this is done every year, so I guess, if it isn't right, it can be changed next year.
Right.
Yeah, so,
Updated.
yeah, updated.
I wonder if one of your strategies under the ongoing goal number 3 would be, you've got identified programs to meet the needs, including technology. I wonder if it's in consultation with the short-term goal number 1. So they may be identifying the problems, but this ongoing one is trying to help meet the needs.
It's no longer identified. Change to promote.
No, not down there.
Oh, on top. Or,
Yeah. Took out identifying
Oh.
promote, and this is identifying programs, not
Right.
identifying needs. So I'm saying that if the short-term goal number 1 subcommittee is identifying problems, maybe they're gonna try and find some short-term solution to the problem, but maybe this committee needs to look at it in a longer view so that it's doesn't repeat itself.
Well, and number 1, according to the strategy, is just identifying needs. There's nothing else beyond that. So if they're identifying the needs, then is goal number 3 identifying programs that meet those needs?
I think there needs to be some coordination between the two, is what I'm saying.
so we've included that under process of communication on short-term goal number 1. So then,
That must be me. Oh, is it this thing's?
Oh, things.
I look at Jeff like, okay, stop moving your leg. It's not me.
It's just like school. I had the same experience in school.
never
I
share.
pointed to any problems in the classroom. The teacher always looked at me.
I knew I wasn't doing it, but I probably did.
I don't think I can.
I think that this should all be done at the commission level, as far as the coordination when short-term goal number 1 reports.
Alex, you can
commission.
sit on our subcommittee. It's an open spot.
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, and, as was mentioned earlier, this can be ever changing. You can always update these
Yeah.
with
Right.
this and
Just
really
leave
work
them
to
the
see
way
how
they
this
are.
collaboration is gonna go between these two.
Yeah.
And then, if there needs to be an update of these goals, then you can update.
And we've changed the whole thing, and let's just leave it the way they are and see how they work. A year from now, we may want to work in some more of those, we may want to, even change the whole thing, or combine them, or do something. But for right now, because this is a new thing, and that's not part of what we were originally told, we were told to have long and short-term goals. We said, no, that doesn't work for us, we want short-term and ongoing. So.
Well, that was Clark's fault.
Yeah.
That was my fault.
But let's just leave them the way they are and see if it works, and we can change things.
But I thought
Oh, we
that was
could
a
blame you, you weren't here.
brilliant suggestion.
Well, but.
I really did, I'm just teasing.
I know.
But I mean, we do have ongoing.
Well, the thing is that even number one is going to be ongoing, because it will always be, even though this is immediate, like right now, somebody comes in, immediate goal I see is, or needs, is that somebody's hungry, they're homeless, or like today, their blood pressure is so elevated, or their blood sugar is that they need immediate, or they're going to go into the hospital. That's not going to change, even though you need this person immediate. Next year, next month, there's going to be somebody else with an immediate need. So immediate is also ongoing. So, I think that, it's never going to go away. Immediate would be short term, but that's also ongoing. I mean, you can't drop these things. So I can see why placing it there, but indeed, that would be an ongoing goal also, because it's not going to go away.
But it's like housing and food, that's an ongoing
It's
goal.
ongoing.
But yet, with the floods and the fires, you had people who needed immediate, they didn't need a plan for food distribution, they needed immediate.
Right. And I think that's the difference in the two, that there's somebody, I think they're wise to separate them.
So, okay, so those are the suggestions that we have. Shall we move to accept the recommendations or accept the goals as presented?
I think that since two of our commissioners, are not here today, rather than making that motion to move that, I think that we should have all of them, because we do have, I think their opinions, need to be heard also, and before we accept them.
Well,
But
we have a quorum.
I understand.
And they were involved in the.
They've been involved in the subcommittee. It's not like we did this outside of their.
And the changes we've made are only more semantics kind of things. Did a major change.
So I think since we have a quorum that we should go ahead and then put this to rest, because we just spend so much time reviewing these. So that's my opinion. So does anybody want to make a motion, or if you don't agree
I
with
would
it?
make a motion. I would agree with you because we're moving into April.
Yeah.
Start. And also work. We're gonna
Okay.
get raises.
So you're moving to accept the goals as presented?
Yes.
Or as-
As the modified.
Okay.
And there's a second.
Yes,
You'd say Clark.
whoever.
Clark, yeah. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to accept the goals that were presented and modified to accept them. Any more discussion? You can vote no, Kathy.
I can abstain also. I'm going to abstain.
Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in favor. Opposed? Nobody's opposed. Abstain? 1 abstention. Okay. It's a lot of effort.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the reason why we're voting to get.
Right.
Just get it done.
Yeah.
And get moving on it.
Yeah. Okay. And so, and we have all the subcommittees suggested, so we're.
And the other thing is that it's a living document,
or have goals. So it can be, as we just discussed, it can be changed. You know, if we see some, something needs to be added or something that is a mistake, we do it.
Yeah, if the interaction between them doesn't work,
Yeah.
we'll change it right then and there.
And let's also note, the goals that are rolling over from previous years to, again, this year, so our long-term goals, and then 2 of the ongoing goals. Anytime those subcommittees meet, we now need to post a special agenda.
Okay.
But when, okay, let's
I
just go
don't
with
see why.
So reason being is that they're no longer a short-term subcommittee. The subcommittees have been established working on.
Not ad hoc.
Right.
Yeah, and we make it a post agenda,
A special agenda.
and how long do we have in advance?
Special agendas are 24 hours. Just communicate that to me and I can get that. It's not too.
That means you gotta plan in advance.
Something like an orcas meeting is not necessarily a long-term goal though. Because it's more, it's an orcas meeting, not a.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking, right, okay, good. I'll put one of you two in charge of that goal. I won't do that.
Okay. So, old business, new business, senior services program.
So Deanna sent me with some notes, and so I'm gonna share you a couple of the programs that she's working on right now. St. Patrick's Day party this Friday, the 16th, at all 3 senior centers. They're gonna be doing a ice cream social and cookie decorating to celebrate. The Refer a Friend program, as we nicknamed it, Bring a Friend program, is going to be kicked off that day, since we're gonna have a large group. And then from there, the directors are gonna be going into every single program for the centers, announcing the program, distributing the flyers, showing the mugs, really getting people, promoting people to bring a friend back with them with that.
And you have the
part.
months already?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, they're pretty.
So that's gonna be kicked off this Friday. May 11th, Cinco de Mayo, Mother's Day combo celebration lunch is on May 11th. And May 18th is the senior dance. So May 18th, senior dance, Mardi Gras theme is what the staff is suggesting. Anyone interested in working with staff on that? I know Alice Madrid has suggested.
We're gonna do that.
Okay, there it is.
We're already seniors.
Yeah, we like that one.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll have either be in, or Deanna, one of them be in communication with you and working forward on that. May 18th is the
hours?
the committee's just being formed.
It'll probably be 5.
Probably 5. Okay, and then I just want to also note, AARP is doing tax preparation, which is huge at the centers. Wednesday at Wilson from 9 to 12. It is free tax prep to seniors amongst a few other groups, but Wednesday at Wilson, 9 to 12. People start lining up at the door at 8 o'clock in the morning. The second the doors open, the list is capped off. So it's a huge need. And also we have at SOC, Mondays and Tuesdays, 9 to 2. So at 2 different locations. A new program that will be fun is Coffee with a Cop is coming to Wilson first, and then we're gonna look at the other 2 senior centers. But Coffee with a Cop on April 18th at 10 a.m. at the Wilson Senior Center.
Repeat again.
April 18th at 10 a.m. And Deanna and I are going to be doing a presentation on Friday to the Lawn Bowls Club of our senior services presentation. So the two of us will be taking it and presenting to the lawn bowlers all the services. We've shared the monthly calendar with them, and we're building that relationship between the Lawn Bowls Club and senior services. So it's just one more step in that. And lastly, we have actually the second to last, 2 CDBG grants are moving forward. Grant application. One is our senior tech program. The virtual senior center is slowly rolling. We do have an agreement written, I'll say. We're waiting for housing to approve moving forward with that under grant terms. And then once we have that approval and all the signatures on that agreement, we can start with the virtual program. That virtual program is different from what we're currently doing in the sense that it's going to be nationwide. Seniors from the comfort of their home will have a menu and simply click on classes that they want to attend. They will be live classes, and they'll actually be able to have two-way communications with other seniors throughout the United States. So there will be that social component where they can communicate, but they have chair exercises that are very similar to bone builders. They have presentations. It really is the true idea of a virtual senior center.
Who's running it?
So self-help is the program, the title of the program. Deanna will oversee its execution on our end, but they provide support to the participants. And
So they're national.
they were in San Diego, Chicago, New York. They're in
That's great.
large areas. So as soon as that is a go, I'll have Deanna bring that back and at least share the live screenshots of what's going on with that, so you can get it in. And then our other program is the Rock Steady Boxing Program, which is the Parkinson's boxing program. Again, they will not be boxing each other. It's really, if you look up Rock Steady Boxing, there's a lot of great resources on their website. Deanna ran into somebody who's running the program out in Palm Springs, and praised the program and how helpful it is. We have somebody that's local that's traveling down to the valley 3 or 4 times a week. He has Parkinson's and travels down 3 to 4 times a week to be part of programs down there. It's that beneficial. So it's going to be a new program if we're able to get CDBG money with it that we will house out of the PAL boxing gym. So
I have a very, very close friend who was recently diagnosed with Parkinson in Pasadena, and she's attending one of these classes. And she says, and it's a little expensive, she's paying a couple $100 a month to go to it, but it's very, very beneficial for her. She comes out and visits me. I was like, no, I have my boxing. I have to go, to my boxing class. So she's only able to stay a couple days. She goes several times a week.
Well, if we have the program rolling here, it's going to be a free program.
Yeah, and I think
Our
that's
residents.
fabulous.
So she can come.
offer those
And
types
she
of
can
services.
come and you can show her where we're at.
And, not only for her, being able to, she's got where she's, she doesn't have tremors and, that sort of thing yet. But when she first went into the program, is that she said, she was at first a little afraid because people are at all levels and that she might see what's coming up. But she said instead is that it just provides not only for herself, but this wonderful support group to see what other people are doing, and which is always marvelous. But she just raves about her, in fact, at Christmas time, for her gift, one of my other friend gave her a gift certificate for like a month of free boxing, because it is that exciting. But it's just, she just raves
Such a
about it.
positive thing.
Yeah.
On the website, one of the testimonials, the individual said I might be looking like I have shaking from the exterior, but it's taken away that feeling from the inside.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
So, once CDBG goes to City Council, I'll provide the date, that those items are going to city council, so if you're able to come and speak and support, that would be great. And then, last item I just want to give you a heads up on is Mary Sue and Deanna are going to be working on establishing a pickleball program at the Wilson Center. So if at the Wilson Center, we have the basketball court, and next to the basketball court is an old tennis court that's not used. So they're going to work on converting that tennis court into a pickleball court.
No, what is pickleball?
So Mary Sue, I'll let Mary Sue. We'll transition.
I wondered if she was gonna look at me. So the story behind the name, whether or not it's true, I'm not sure, is two families went to a island with their children, and the children were bored, so they came up with a new game. But the dog, every time the ball went far away, the dog pickle went back and brought it back.
Oh,
That's
okay.
pickleball. But pickleball is kind of a combination between tennis and ping pong and badminton. So it's a shorter court. You can do it on half of a tennis court. It has a larger paddle. It has a ping pong type of paddle, but larger. So it's not, the crosshairs that you see in the tennis racket. It's a wooden or composite paddle. It has a shorter net than tennis, so there is a net that goes across, but it's lower. And a wiffle ball, but it's a wiffle ball that bounces. So, when I think of a wiffle ball, you can barely throw it, it doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
With this one, when you hit it with the racket, it goes, but it's not as heavy as a tennis ball. So nice thing is, you can still kind of play tennis, but it's on a shorter court. We may be one of the last in the county to actually get it. And I went to a California Parks and Rec Society meeting a couple weeks ago. And Moore Park has them. They had them in Simi when I worked for Simi 12 years ago. However long ago that was. And if you want to see what they look like, Miranda Park in Port Hueneme, they have that whole set of tennis courts. There's a couple of them that have been converted to pickleball.
Now, is it small enough from the standpoint of the court where you could have it inside?
Yeah, there's a lot of them inside, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And the nice thing about it is because I went and played once before I made a report about it. I saw kids as young as 8 or so playing, and seniors, I don't know how old they were, 70s, 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a whole family activity, and it's social, because as opposed to tennis where the games are fairly long, you have to win 3 sets, right? This is a 15-minute game, typically. So people sit and watch and they socialize while these people are playing and they're waiting for their turn to come in.
Oh, good.
To rotate through. So it's a good activity, and I think it'll be a nice addition to it. And that court it's flat, doesn't have bumps in it and stuff, and it's not very dangerous.
Good.
Yeah, and there's some other places where it used to be tennis courts. There's a place with a Beach Street, and it's an empty tennis court thing. So other places could be converted.
Oh, that's part of the old Tell School.
Yeah, it just
It's on the corner of H and I don't know.
But, maybe other places could be once it gets out.
The hospital owns that court. When they sold Tell School,
H and one. Give me some.
North of.
It's between Dora's
Dor-
and.
Doris.
You go up
Second.
Doris and take a right
Yeah,
on
I know
H.
exactly what you're talking about. It's kind of behind,
Yeah, okay.
wherever the apartments on Signature are kind of back that side of it, right?
It's an odd thing because they sold that, let's see, the convent was built, the Sister Servants of Mary. And for some reason, they forgot about that tennis court or basketball court. And-
the tennis court.
But the hospital owns it.
And they forgot to say it.
That'd be a perfect place.
So we're starting here at Wilson or there at Wilson, the one court, see how it goes, and I think we're gonna recommend temporary tennis or temporary nets for now.
Good.
And see how that works out. So, do you have anything else? Or do you want to
Go.
go mine? I wrote down a ton of things to tell you about. I've been getting a lot of calls about the luncheon, which is usually this month. We've gone out to bid, it's not gonna be this month. Our grant, because it was extended to the end of June, I have until the end of June to actually do the luncheon. So I've gone out to bid, I've got 2 bids so far, I need a third before I make a decision, but, right now it's looking like we're gonna do it on May 10th.
Yes.
So Thursday.
That's gonna be a wild week.
Yeah,
Because on May
Mother's
12th
Day.
is the Heritage Square's tea. So remember that. That's Saturday.
I also have that day as John's birthday, and I don't know who John is. I have a brother John, but his birthday is in March, and it's not on the 10th. So I think I put something odd in my calendar, but I don't know what it was. So the other thing we're planning within RSVP is I've got my intern from public health and Kim, who was an intern from public health. They're working together on a World Tai Chi Day celebration. And it'll be April 28th. I think they've decided on doing it in the Rose Garden, if it's a nice day. April 28th is a Saturday. But it is, World Tai Chi Day is a designated day. So there'll be other celebrations around the world of Tai Chi. So they've got a subcommittee, they're actually meeting today with their subcommittee of some of our Tai Chi instructors to decide what they're gonna do, what it's gonna look like. Are they gonna invite other Tai Chi providers to come in, show people the different kinds? Definitely invite the public. My whole goal in it, and I've asked them to keep this in mind, is to promote our Tai Chi program, get it more visible. So we're doing that. RSVP, being able to go out to get the RSVP grant is what we're going to the council for on Tuesday. We've been offered, usually we applied and then gone to the council to accept the money. But at this point, we haven't applied yet. We're always supposed to have gone to council before we apply, but sometimes we put the cart before the horse. So now we're doing it in the right direction. So we're going on April 20th for that. Sylvia, some of you have probably heard me talk about Sylvia. She's our 91-year-old bone builders instructor who basically runs bone builders in Camarillo for me. She has been selected as the senior of the year for the city of Camarillo. So although we can't really recognize her in the city of Oxnard because she's a Camarillo resident, it's very cool that she was nominated by the Camarillo Healthcare District and was voted in. And I have a message from her that she wants me to go to dinner with her on March 23rd. So I think she's inviting me to the big celebration of Spanish Hills.
We can such a thing here in Oxford.
There we go.
That's a doctrine for future plans. A senior of the year.
So in part, she got it because she does.
Let's make it go.
Yeah,
No, I didn't say that. No.
She does all the bone builders, but she also, I think it's been a year now, maybe a year and a half, she pulled somebody out of a burning building. She did that at 89.
Wow.
Yes, it's been 2 years ago. And so she was recognized by the fire department. And actually, she was at her friend Jane's house, who she met through bone builders. And, yes, and they were at Jane's house in Leisure Village talking, and they smelled smoke, and they went outside, and the house next door was burning. And so the husband got out through a window in the back, but the wife was in the front of the house, and apparently she kept trying to close the door while Sylvia was trying to open the door, and I mean, Sylvia's a little tiny thing. I keep saying I get full credit for this, because somehow those two were put together through bone builders, and Sylvia was strong enough to push the door open and pull her out. So anyway, she was given credit for that by the
county fire department last year, and this year she's got senior. Very cool. So we trained 3 people in Tai Chi last weekend. So not a whole big number. I didn't get a lot of, we were on next door all over the place and that. Just to get in early enough, because I've got a lot of people now signed up for June. I can keep them involved, because it got into the paper so late that it wasn't. To ask somebody to use their whole Friday and Saturday when they learned about it on Thursday is kind of a lot. But the good news is that a lot of, it looks like the people that I had trained and have been bringing along and trying to get them to get certified, the dominoes seem to be falling at this point. So I've got a new one in Camarillo who's been certified. She was trained about 9 months ago, and she's finally certified. And I've got somebody else in Ventura, so I'll be out looking for sites.
We have a site for
I know, I don't have Oxnard. I have the one woman in Oxnard. So Renee and I participated in a conversation with some consultants that were brought on by the corporation, which gives us our grant. We are one of 5 sites that got the evidence-based money that were chosen to participate in the case study. They asked the state directors to, if there was somebody that they thought would be a good one to interview. So we were interviewed, and then I had 5 of my volunteers in the office who were actually teaching the classes, and they were also interviewed. I think I don't really know what they're looking at other than how well the programs are working, how well, giving money for evidence-based programs was new to the corporation. And it was additional money above your normal grant. So they're looking at how well those are implemented and if it's effective, is what I'm figuring. I wanted to tell you that we went to, Deanna and I went to, I went to, on Friday last week, we went to LA to Aging into the Future, a conference put on by St. Barbara Senior Services. They're fabulous. They're serving LA. And it was a really interesting conference. We saw, I wish I put this on something so I could see it on my phone, but I have a 4-second video of Gita. Gita is apparently an Italian name or Italian word, and it's like a portable backpack, a personal carrier. And it rolls and it follows your legs, or it follows what, I don't know how it knows what it's following. But they showed us video of somebody in a wheelchair, so she could go to the grocery store, but now she's got something that she can put all her groceries in and it follows her.
You probably have a sensor.
Yeah, well, I thought that you might be wearing a sensor, but they said no.
Yeah, just have to
Just
go.
tap the
There's a
The
magnet.
triad tap.
Magnet in your.
So- But it was the highlight of maybe one of the highlights. It was a very cool thing to see it following, because he had it there, it's just following him around the stage, back and forth. He showed a video where they had like 4 little kids, and one of them, it was targeted on that one, but all the other ones kept running in front of it to try and confuse it, and just kept following that one wherever she went.
Okay.
So, that was pretty cool, and then, I can't remember the name of the video or the sound thing that I thought was cool. But there's a program, an app that we can get that's free, that it plays, it's like sound effects for a movie. You can use it to help, storytelling or reviving memories, work with memory loss folks, that kind of stuff. So in the conference, there were about 500 people there. He played 3 minutes of a ball game, just the sound. You heard, like the roar of the crowd and people kind of talking and cracking the bat and, all that kind of stuff. And it was interesting because after he's finished, he said, so who was it a night game? Who was it a day game? It's totally your imagination. You put your experiences onto it. So it could be a very cool, either storytelling or writing stories or going through memories kind of thing. I went over to his table afterwards and listened to, I told him I wanted to hear an adventure one. I know what ball games sound like. The adventure one was, you could hear, you were walking on either, it sounded like the crunch of grass with frost on it, sort of. I grew up in Jersey. Or leaves. You're walking, and then you can hear it playing. Then you can hear a rumble of what sounded like a really old car going past, because new cars don't make that much noise, right? And then it sounded like the alien ships had come down, they were fighting, there was zapping going on and all kinds of stuff. And then you walk around, it was fun. That was the fun part of it. And I just got an email that they're going on the road with that, and they're gonna be in Ventura County in June. So when I learn more about it, I'll let you guys know about it. I don't know exactly what it means, but they're going on the road with it.
Yeah, the agency that's doing this
It
is
was
St.
St.
Barnabas.
Barnabas Senior Services, yes. So they're a nonprofit that do a lot of stuff.
I wonder if the Council on Aging has it.
I didn't see, there are other RSVP directors there. I happened to sit next to one of the newest ones, Laura, she was there. But I didn't see anybody else.
St. Barnabas, what?
Senior Services.
Seniors.
If you look up St. Barnabas and seniors,
Okay.
they'll show up. They do a number of these things. They do a summit on aging every year. It's fun.
Let's see what they-
I don't know who St. Barnabas is. Good question. There was something else from there. I wanted to share, but I forgot now. Oh, I know. They had this co-creator session, which was very cool. So a lot of the things, like Gita is a prototype. That's probably the only one there is. But they brought inventors there, and they split us up into 12 rooms or something, and we met with the people who were developing product to determine, get some input about what people who work with seniors think they're doing wrong or doing right. The one that I was in, and it was a fluke that I was there too, because they had put numbers on our name cards, was called Embrace, and it was sat on your hip or belt, and it measured your gait, and it could predict if you were gonna fall 6 to 24 months by how you were walking. And then it had programs connected to it that you could get on your computer, your smartphone, which of course, for some of our seniors is a barrier right there. But it provided the physical therapy to counteract what they were doing.
See, Lourdes, that's why you need a smartphone.
So, I mean, it was just
At
very,
least an answering machine.
a very cool thing that they had. And the last thing I had is Clearwater, which is over by the collection, is opening on Thursday. They have I don't know if you guys got notices or not, or if they put it's been in the newspaper.
Yeah. They were running ads.
They have a soft opening there or grand opening or whatever, where they've invited people to come and tour. That is, I think it starts at 4 to 7 on Thursday the 15th.
Yeah, and what is Clearwater?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Remember the fellow came here and told us they're opening a senior living facility
Oh, it's
in the collection.
Oh, okay,
Collection.
so that's what it is.
It's supposed to be very upscale.
Right.
Yes, they're quite expensive. Very expensive. They're providing a lot of amenities, a lot of programming for them there.
For apartment kind of.
Yeah.
We had talked about spas and pools. Yeah.
And
It's definitely- Yeah,
So, but if you're curious,
I just forgot. the name.
Thursday at 4 o'clock,
4 to
4 to 7. I figured I'd go over and check in.
And what day we get?
This Thursday,
Oh,
Is that the 14th?
15th. 4 o'clock.
It's a coupon day at the new book at Costco. Coupon book is valid.
There must be something in there you want to spend.
I just bought my Zyrtec and now on sale for $6 off.
Okay, that's what I had. That was a lot.
that's exciting when you see this new, innovative things for seniors. That's
And that
really
people are actually thinking about ways to solve some of the problems that are out there. Yeah, it was, Dina, I don't remember what Deanna went to. I think she skipped the one she was assigned to because it wasn't interesting to her, and went to one that was more pertinent to what she was doing. But I can't tell you what it was.
Well, everything is robotics now, like this little thing that follows you like a robot.
Yeah.
And that's what the kids are all doing, is robotics. And so now they're finding applications for seniors.
Well, because everybody knows there's gonna be so many more seniors, the companies are willing to put money into development, for seniors, but it'll also help all handicapped. I imagine the help, that they will get from those kinds of things.
The Gina is being developed by Piaggio, which apparently designed the Vespa. So, I mean, it's an established company, it's not just a startup that's doing it. I don't know about, I'm not sure it's practical if you think about all of us who walk around looking down at our cell phones. We're not gonna see this little thing, maybe that's the purpose of all the lights.
Oh,
Tripping over this white thing, rolling behind somebody else.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Subcommittee reports and commission business, the Ventura County Agency. Ventura County Agency, isn't it area agency?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was missing that. Ventura County Area Agency on Aging. Meeting is tomorrow. I think they have it every 2 months now.
Yeah.
And, so I will ask Monique if she knows about St. Barbara's.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah. For me, I'm on the Senior Nutrition Committee. We all have to be on a couple of committees. And I'm on the Senior Nutrition Committee, and we were invited to go to the Joe Dano's Food and Equipment Show at the Earl Lawrence Showgrounds. It's Sunday and Monday. And it's a great event. They have it every 2 or 3 years. And they display food and ways to cook it, and they give samples, and you have a bag and you come home, they give lots of giveaways. So that's exciting, and I told Renee about it, and so the invitation extended to Joan, who's a chef, and so Joan and Deanna are gonna go. So maybe we'll get some new menu items at the Wilson Center. And also, there's going to be the Optimal Aging Champion Awards this year. Remember, I told you about it last year. You had somebody you were thinking about nominating. There will be awards for dementia advocacy, and leadership and media champion, leadership champion and media champion. There'll be 2 awards, one for individual and one for an agency. We don't have a date yet. They're working on the application. But if you think that you know of somebody that has done an exceptional job of seniors, get back to me and I'll see that you get a nomination form.
try to be sure we have someone to nominate.
Yeah.
Just to get our name out there every year.
Nominate Sylvia.
Well, it would be good to
Yeah,
get
that would
somebody
be-
from Oxnard.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
To nominate somebody from Oxnard.
Nominate Sylvia. Oh, yeah, the Dilders, because they do bone builders and Tai Chi, and he's up at Wilson doing taxes.
So I have an electronic question or form, and so I can send it to you. But anyway, be thinking about who has made a big impact on seniors, and I'm thinking about that agency that provided all the Christmas gifts for the seniors, but that agency was home instead.
Home instead for the Christmas gifts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was remarkable, although they acquired them from other Okay, and Clark, do you have anything to add to that?
No, not really. What they're doing though is incorporating, different committees into one. And so it's going to be interesting to see what we have tomorrow at the meeting, because I'm not sure how many actual committees are left.
Yeah,
Do you?
no, I don't know.
And they've got, in the packet, there was some mention of a committee, and I've forgotten. They've incorporated about a total of 3 committees into one.
Yeah,
And I sent a email out asking who was on that committee, because I don't know. I don't know if I'm on one of them, because the 2 committees that I was on, I think have been eliminated or have been incorporated.
so
into the
Clark
meeting.
volunteers and they do away with it.
Kill it.
I think it's a wonderful.
Right.
Well, they just weren't getting enough participation.
No.
So they,
That's
you know,
why I had
people
to-
weren't
why you
showing
had to
up.
do that.
It was a waste of time. So but I don't know.
But
They're,
we'll find out
they're
tomorrow.
reinventing, you know, they're
Yeah.
trying to figure out how they can do it more effectively.
Right.
Okay, Kay, do you have a report? with the new senior center?
Well, right now, we're working very closely with Renee. We need some immediate money to finish up some of the filing to become a 501c. And so she's trying to get us about $1,000 so we can finish up all the filing and doing that kind of thing. And that's our biggest thing right now is, unless someone knows of someone who would like to donate $1,000 to the ORCA committee, because we need to finish filing. There's a lot of things you have to do, and you're talking about $800 just to file something with one of the, agencies of the government kind of thing.
So once you do this, you'll be able to start raising money.
Right, because we were asking people to donate, but we have to be a legitimate 501c to do it, and a legitimate corporation, so that you can take it off your taxes. I mean, I don't like asking anyone to donate, but, because I believe very much in, taking advantage of the laws, and so you can donate.
And we can't open a bank account.
Well, we need a bank account, so the moment we get the money, we'll open a bank, so there's just a lot of things that depend on, so that we hope that the, Measure O, money can be donated. Well, it said it was supposed to be for nonprofits, and this is the one that, so that's the biggest.
So if you got the $1,000, would it be tax deductible?
Well, I think it would be. I'll say to you, yes, it would be, because, we'll be a 501c.
I know, retroactive.
Retroactive, and, only if you got audited and someone in, IRS decided to be crazy about it, and when you would get audited, we would be official.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I think we could look into it a little bit more.
yeah.
And make sure that we do it right.
I'm sure Mike Williams, could tell us exactly.
And what,
I can give you exactly what.
did Steve Huber give you some idea?
Yeah, of people to contact and this kind of thing, but it's just, unless people are really involved in it, we just.
Yeah.
Did you and Dina get together?
Yes, what did we do? Oh, yeah, she's on the committee, she's joining us.
Really? Well, that's,
Peterson, yeah,
yeah, no, Dina Jensen from the
Oh,
CLU.
yes, she gave me some, I have to stop and think about it. She gave us some ideas, and, there was a follow. I'll have to get back to you on this, really, but I did talk with her, yes, we talked, yeah.
Okay, well, let's hope that we get this done soon.
I know.
The whole issue of the city council, and there might be changes. We have their support right now for the Fifth Street. And if we don't get something in place.
I think the most important, and this is not related to this, but what we have to do on May 1st to vote is very complicated. So please, when you get your thing, read it carefully
That's right.
and ask questions about it, because it's a weird way. You have to vote yes or no, and then you have to vote in case it says you no for the, do you want it or not? So please read those instructions. Don't walk in without having read it, because it's very complicated, I understand, how they're voting on May 1st. So I pass this word out to everybody you know. It's-
Right.
Yeah,
Because
just a
they-
comment regarding your analysis, that being able to identify the location of the Fifth Street location doesn't have anything to do with the ORCAs. Those are two separate issues.
I know,
Yeah,
but
so,
it's
you know,
still,
I mean, well, I
you
thought
know,
you were tying it in,
look at
because,
that.
I mean, that could move forward with, and we're still trying to, as we're trying to do that, so I don't know, do you have an update on that at all?
So I was waiting for the
Thank you.
opportunity. So the project manager has gone out and received bids for the aviation risk assessment. We approved the lowest bid. It's about $20,000 for that one assessment. And so the project manager, we touched base this week, and she is working through an agreement with that agency to move forward with their assessment. So that's step one. There's more than that individual assessment. There's going to be a few other assessments that are necessary, but that's the very first assessment that needs to be done.
how does that $20,000 get?
From the 68,000 that was approved by city
Oh.
council. So that 68,000 covered these various assessments along
Fabulous.
with the project manager.
Well, I think it's marvelous, everything that you've done, and, but there's still a lot of
It
work.
feels to us like right now that nothing's really happening, and it's just, there's so many little steps you have to do, and you have to do this before you can do this. I mean, sometimes it gets real confusing and very depressing, and Kathy's working right now to have a party, so eventually in 3 or 4 months, we will have some kind of party to get everybody and tell the world that this is happening and inviting them to come and hoping we can raise some money just doing it, and also just getting we need list of email names to get a backing of people that we can send things out to tell them what's going. So we just need people's names and phone numbers and that kind of thing.
Well, I think all the commissioners can.
Once we get into that, and we'll expect you to be in it, but right now we're calling it a party, we'll probably,
Fabulous.
And, I'm sure there's this is just a random thought, but on Facebook, there's a growing up in Oxnard, or I remember Oxnard.
Yeah.
Oxnard
and Emory.
Yeah, you're gonna find some old timers on there who, if you start publicizing,
Yeah.
you might find people that you might not otherwise reach.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to educate across.
There's a women's group of agriculture, women's group, that is the old time farmers and families and.
Ron Fisher belonged to that.
I know, he did. It's-
My sister-in-law belonged.
Yeah, so, I mean, those are the kind of people to think about, or organizations, so we can go to them when we have something to say, we need you to come, if you can't come, give us your name and phone number.
Give us somebody contact.
Yeah, we need it, so that, we have a master list, and it needs 3,000.
A credit card.
Yes, technically.
With
Expiration date.
Yeah.
What about a GoFundMe to raise the $1,000?
I don't know, I haven't ever been impressed with GoFundMe. There's a very few that work.
I don't
I don't
know,
know if that's true, Kate.
what did I see?
People raise money for
Okay.
funerals and memorials and.
Yeah.
matter.
You're only looking for
Really?
$1,000.
Yeah, they'll raise $25,000
I
in
guess
48 hours.
That's a fallback thing, I guess, or we could do it in addition.
It's amazing. I
Just have to have a
read something
presentation.
about some young man, and he needed a couple of $1,000. In 3 days, he got $86,000. It was something.
Part of it is you have to pull on heartstrings, so you need to start early telling people about the need, and educating them before you start asking for money.
Mhm.
That's a
That's
development director.
One of the challenges,
Emotion is
of course,
important.
right now in our community is because of the primary floods, is that so many organizations,
Right.
feel
Yeah.
that
There's an
urgent need
article.
to that,
Yeah.
which is much more pressing than the long-term need of, that, hey, something that we're gonna build in, 15 years. Or, so,
Right.
people only have so much money that they contribute.
Even
So
to
that is
start
one of
in
our,
March.
that's one of our challenges.
It's interesting because, even a bake sale could realize.
That's why I'm saying is that I
Um,
suggested small little things, so at least we're getting, that maybe that sort of thing, car washes, little dances, little things like that. I'm trying to go over and have contributions that people make small contributions, and $10 a piece, adds up, that we can go over as well as getting the enthusiasm out of the people. So that's what I'm suggesting as we're at this limbo stage of like waiting to hear from them, why don't we do something, at least we're working.
Could we do a bake sale at the farmer's market? Out there?
Gotta get the health department involved. Probably. That's downtown.
My granddaughter has a little charity at her school that's to help the Chinese homeless or something like that. So she's taken it upon herself. She makes brownies and she takes them to school and sells them for $2 each. And I said, well, what's your profit margin? She said, well, really, nothing, because my dad buys brownies. But you get one of those Ghirardelli boxes at Costco.
Yeah.
And it's $9.99.
They didn't know.
And so you can make a lot of money selling brownies. But I wouldn't want to get the health department.
Yeah, no, you don't want to tell the health department that she's doing that, because.
Well, if she's doing it in China, I don't think it makes any difference.
Is she in China?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So she sells it at her school.
Different rules.
Different.
Whatever.
That's right.
Oh, gosh. Okay, well, we're really getting late here.
Yeah,
Do we have any other commission comments?
Yeah, what? I'm going to have to, I'm on June 11th from the standpoint of my presentation for the grant individual that I'm working on, and I have to change that. So Renee and I were talking about possibly changing it to September meeting.
Okay. So just switch his grant. I think it's,
So he's coming in on June 12th, Camarillo Hospice, and we'll move Camarillo Hospice presentation by Clark to September 11th. I emailed that out to everyone because last meeting, it was pointed out that it wasn't in your.
oh, it's not in.
So I
Okay,
did email it.
Oh, but you have it.
Okay, so September what again?
So September 11th.
11th.
And then action, today's presentation by Commissioner Clemens will be moved to April 10th.
Okay.
Very good. Do we have any suggestions for agenda items for next month? Okay, so
I had one comment. I sent Renee, I don't know if you distributed, I sent her right after our grant meeting, Ventura Star ran an article on Shopify.
it's gonna, I didn't share it with everybody, but we are gonna be posting it on our social
It was
media.
really interesting. And then he did an article on Tony Miller, who I was shocked was 85 years old. So,
I know, I was too.
yeah, I mean, the guy, I wish I'd had his energy. And
And his
It was-
passion.
it was a really good, I mean, it was most of the same stuff he's told us, but it was in Ventura Star, nice space in the paper. So he didn't mention us at all.
And that's another
Open for
person
that.
that could be nominated. For this
He's not,
opportunity.
he's not an Oxford.
Well, but he serves Oxford.
He's
But there must be shoppers here in Oxnard too.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get.
They shop in Bronx. But it was neat to see that. I wish, my only hope was that he had given us a little shout out. Maybe he did in the end.
He did. And I think
Didn't
they
really
mentioned
talk about
Oxnard.
the grants or anything. We didn't talk.
Oh, it's probably because the reporter didn't have any concept of how money and grants and any of those kind of things, so he probably didn't ask the questions.
So we're
they
gonna
didn't
post
get-
that on,
Yes.
on the Facebook page.
It's on the schedule.
Thank you
Everything's
for-
scheduled.
Thank you for the new logo. Instead of adults 55 plus, it now says new services.
So it used to be the rec logo and then 55 plus in the corner, and now it says, it's the rec logo with senior services.
Good.
For those who don't catch 55 plus, they'll definitely catch senior services.
Okay, if there's no further business, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
All right, second. Kathy seconded. All in favor? Raise your right hand. Excellent. Well,
5 minutes late.